Jiang Hao traveled through time and was already an ordinary person. He was very flustered, but found that he had a proficiency panel where anything could be turned into a skill by just looking at it. As long as he brushed his proficiency, he could increase it without limit. Since that's the case, as long as he doesn't die, he should die. P.S. The First World, Huang Feihong, and this book mainly focus on movies. The worlds I can write about include Deer and the Cauldron, 9th rank Sesame Officials, 9th Uncle Series, Hong Kong Island Horror Film Series, Shinjuku Incident, Speed and Passion, Pacific Rim, Transformers, Plan A, Long Man In, Laughing and Proud Jiang Hao, Heaven's Sword and Dragon Saber, Tang Dynasty Twin Dragons, Qin Shi, Resident Evil, Sicily's Beautiful Legends, Marvel, DC Movies, Immortal Cultivation, Bad People, One Man Under One, Dope Ha, all of which are not in any particular order, and there will be further additions in the future. Keywords of the novel. Zhutian film and television. I brush proficiency to become a god without a pop-up window. Zhutian film and television. I brush proficiency to become a god. Download the full text. Zhutian film and television. I brush proficiency to become a god. Latest chapter reading. Chapter 1, Proficiency Panel, Huang Feihong World. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1, Proficiency Panel, Huang Feihong World in 1886. Guangdong, Foshan. The kitchen of a tea house. Jiang Hao was stirring the pot and spoons, and under the pot was the burning firewood. As Jiang Hao poured a spoonful into the pot, a delicious aroma quickly permeated the kitchen. I see the heat is almost there. Jiang Hao exerted force on his left hand, lifted the iron pot, and poured the dishes into the large white plate that the assistant chef had already prepared. Shredded pork and green pepper is ready, Jiang Hao shouted. Someone will immediately come and take away the vegetable plate. Subsequently, Jiang Hao continued to be busy. Doing it all afternoon. Jiang Haofang was relieved only when his replacement chef arrived. At this moment, he is already covered in sweat and oil. There is fatigue, but more importantly, it is due to the heat. A place like the kitchen is already hot on weekdays, but now it's May, so it's even hotter. Do nothing, stay inside for half a day, and it will make you sweat all over. Moreover, Jiang Hao has been stir-frying vegetables from beginning to end and has never stopped. Tipping pots and spoons is also a physical activity, not an easy one. Working for an entire afternoon is really unbearable for most people. He is young now and his body can handle it. After washing his face and changing into clean clothes in the backyard of the restaurant, Jiang Hao walked to the main hall of the restaurant. Ah Hao, let's go. The shopkeeper Li Ming immediately greeted Jiang Hao with a smile. Well, Uncle Li, it's time. I've been busy all afternoon today and can't handle it anymore. It's really hard on you, Ah Hao. This is your wages for today. Li Ming smiled and handed over some broken silver. There is about 1 or 2 silver coins. Earning 1 or 2 silver in an afternoon is not a low salary. You should know, it is now 1886 or the Qing dynasty. In this era, the purchasing power of 1 or 2 silver coins was roughly equivalent to 700 or 800 RMB in later generations. The waiters in the restaurant earn only about 2 taels of silver per month. And Jiang Hao only needs 1 or 2 in a day, 2 days to surpass others for a month, which shows how high his salary is. But Jiang Hao is worth this price. Jiang Hao came to Heshenglu as a cook a month ago. At first, he was just a kitchen assistant, but later he gradually took over as a cook. Good guy, I don't know if I don't answer, but I'm scared one after another. Jiang Hao's cooking skills are not inferior or even better than those old chefs who have been cooking in restaurants for 20 or 30 years. Slowly, the guests in the restaurant began to praise Jiang Hao's delicious stir-fried dishes. The food is delicious, and there will be more repeat customers. According to word of mouth, the business of Heshenglu quickly doubled. Although the business of Heshenglu was also good, it only earned 30 to 40 taels in a day, 10 taels of which were the cost and the salary of the assistants in the restaurant. Since Jiang Hao came to Heshenglu and boosted its reputation. Nowadays, Heshenglu can earn 50.60 taels a day. When there are many, it's not impossible to get 60 or 70 taels. Excluding costs, the net profit per day is around 40 taels. It may not seem like much, but in reality, there are already many. In a month, a restaurant can earn 1,000 taels, which is a considerable amount. Thank you, Uncle Li. I'm leaving, you're busy. Jiang Hao took the money, smiled, waved his hand, and left directly. Name, Jiang Hao, age, 26, force, 7, body, 7, God, 8, normal adult male strength, body, and spirit are all 5, skills. Cooking LV4, 6220/100000, language proficiency LV4, 833/100000, radio gymnastics L4, 64999/100000, running L4, 87621/100000, PS, LV1 beginner, LV2 proficient, LV3 minor, LV4 major, LV5 successful, LV6 transcendent, LV7 transcendent, LV8 divine. That's right, Jiang Hao is a traveler. The data panel he sees is his golden finger. There are no other functions besides digitizing Jiang Hao's body data. But Jiang Hao had no dissatisfaction, on the contrary, he was very excited. Because Jiang Hao discovered that his body had been digitized. He can learn skills and enhance himself by improving his proficiency. It feels like a bald cloak monster, his upper limit has been broken. The difference is that he needs to brush proficiently and grow at a speed that is completely unmatched by bald cloak monsters. But at least Jiang Hao's future can be seen as very promising. This is also the reason why Jiang Hao is excited. With this proficiency system, as long as one keeps improving their liver proficiency and skills, they will eventually become extraordinary. Before his time traveling, Jiang Hao was a college student majoring in foreign languages, which is why his proficiency in language can reach LV4. He is proficient in English, French, German, Russian, Portuguese, and Japanese. Of course, one should also add their native language, Chinese. It sounds very exaggerated. But in fact, before crossing over, Jiang Hao was a genius in language. Before traveling, due to his proficiency in multiple languages and 2 years of work experience as a translator, Jiang Hao directly submitted his resume to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, intending to become a translator there. I haven't received a response yet. Jiang Hao crossed over. I arrived in Foshan, Guangdong in 1886. As for culinary skills, Jiang Hao's family is considered a petty bourgeoisie, as they own a restaurant. Business is good. Both parents are chefs, and on weekdays when they go home from vacation, Jiang Hao also helps with cooking, so his cooking skills are not bad. At first, his culinary skills were LV3 however, while helping with the kitchen at Heshenglu, his proficiency also increased, quickly breaking through LV3 and reaching LV for the culinary skills of LV4 are already a great achievement. For ordinary people, achieving success is almost a level that requires half a lifetime of training. It can already be called a famous chef. With a famous chef like Jiang Hao sitting in Heshenglu, the food is delicious and the business naturally improves. And Li Ming is also a smart person who knows why the restaurant's business is good. So when Jiang Hao proposed a daily wage of 1 or 2 silver coins, and only worked for 1 afternoon, and had to pay the wages on time, he did not refuse Jiang Hao either. A salary of 1 or 2 silver coins a day seems to be high. But compared to the profit of earning more than 10 taels of silver a day after Jiang Hao came, he is not at a loss at all. Carrying the food packed in the restaurant, Jiang Hao left Hesheng building and prepared to go home. He rented a small courtyard in the city. But it's a bit far from Husheng building. After all, being close, even the rental price is not cheap. Although Jiang Hao earns a lot, all of his money is saved and useful. Because Jiang Hao did not come from the year 1886 in history, but came into the world of movies. And this movie is Huang Feihong's soaring ambition. At first, Jiang Hao was also unclear. Until Husheng became famous for him. He saw a fat man just like Zheng Zishe. Of course, in this world, he doesn't call that name, others call him Lin Shirong. Jiang Hao is naturally familiar with the name Lin Shirong. After all, the Huang Feihong series of Kung Fu Emperor Li has made Huang Feihong, a martial artist from the late Qing dynasty, extremely famous in later generations, and few people do not know who Huang Feihong belongs to. As a representative disciple of Huang Feihong, Lin Shirong is naturally famous. How could Jiang Hao not know? End of this chapter. Chapter 2, Yan Zhendong. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2, Yan Zhendong. After learning that this is Huang Feihong's ambitious world, Jiang Hao had the idea of learning from Huang Feihong. Jiang Hao is not sure what kind of person Huang Feihong was in real history. But Jiang Hao, who has watched the Kung Fu Emperor Li's Huang Feihong series more than 7 or 8 times, knows exactly what kind of person Huang Feihong is in the movie. Learning from Huang Feihong in the movie is definitely a great choice. Huang Feihong is not only a master of martial arts, but also very skilled in his own medical skills. It is said that medicine and martial arts are inseparable. Huang Feihong achieved great success in martial arts at a young age, based on the image in the movie, which is enough to be called a martial arts master. In Jiang Hao's view, it is impossible to say that it has nothing to do with his equally proficient medical skills. So Jiang Hao has been planning to find opportunities to become a teacher of Huang Feihong. However, this matter is not urgent at the moment. Although the late Qing dynasty was chaotic and there were numerous gangs in Foshan, Jiang Hao had no enemies and no crisis. Naturally, there is no rush to learn from Huang Feihong. Moreover, people like Huang Feihong who accept apprentices would not be willing to accept anyone who seeks his apprenticeship. In this era, there is no difference between accepting apprentices and sons. The possibility of Huang Feihong accepting Jiang Hao is very low, as he is not clear about his background. So, Jiang Hao plans to hang out with him at Husheng for 3 to 4 months first, until he has some reputation. It's not too late to find Huang Feihong to apprentice again. With a proficiency system in place, even at the age of 20.6, he has already passed the best time to practice martial arts. It doesn't matter. Because as long as there is a skilled panel available, practicing martial arts on your own only requires brushing your proficiency level. Once learned, his progress will definitely be particularly fast. After all, as long as there is proficiency, there is no bottleneck, and it is not impossible to surpass Huang Feihong in the future. So Jiang Hao was not in a hurry to apprentice Huang Feihong. But even if I didn't go to worship Huang Feihong as my teacher, Jiang Hao also exercises himself on weekdays. He also does exercises such as radio gymnastics and running to strengthen his body every day. This is also why Jiang Hao's strength and body can reach 7, exceeding 2 points of a normal adult male. This is because he has been exercising all along. After improving proficiency, even the simple skills of broadcasting gymnastics and running both increased Jiang Hao's strength and body by 2 points. Seemingly not many. But in reality, it's already quite exaggerated. In 1 month, increasing the strength and body of adults by 40% is not something that ordinary people can achieve in a month. And the reason why he has improved so much is entirely due to the proficiency panel. According to the system's explanation, the amount of force affects the strength of a person, the hardness of their bones, and the speed of their movements. The size of a person's body affects their endurance, recovery, resistance, and hematopoietic ability. And God determines whether a person's spiritual power is strong or not. Memory, brain thinking ability, learning ability, comprehension, energy, vision, and 5 senses are all influenced by God. The God of 8 should be because Jiang Hao himself is a genius. Otherwise, Jiang Hao would not be proficient in 7 languages. In addition, his determination is strong, and he never stops exercising on a daily basis. His willpower is strong, which is why his divine ability can reach 8 walking on the way home. There are various clamoring sounds in my ears. From time to time, one can see people in tattered clothes squatting on the street like walking corpses, with no signs of anger on their faces. Upon seeing this scene, Jiang Hao's gaze only paused for a moment before moving away. It's not that he's cold-blooded, but there are too many people like him. He has limited abilities and cannot help it all. It's better to take care of yourself first. If poor, one should be self-centered, and if successful, one should also benefit the world. When he grows up and becomes capable, he will naturally help those in need. Walking. Suddenly, I felt a flicker of white in the sky. After 2 breaths. Boom. With a loud bang, Thunder Gong was furious. It startled Jiang Hao, who was walking. No wonder those who talk about ghosts and monsters are most afraid of thunder. Even with this loud noise, people are afraid. Before I could think more, in a moment, it was already pouring rain. The world suddenly seemed to be shrouded in a thin veil, hazy and hazy. The once noisy world seemed to have calmed down in an instant. The heavy rain caused the pedestrians on the street to come and go in a hurry. Someone has already put on a raincoat at some point. Jiang Hao didn't rush to run anymore because his clothes were already wet, so it didn't matter anymore. As for whether you will catch a cold due to getting caught in the rain. Is it true that his body of 7 is displayed for viewing? As he was walking, Jiang Hao suddenly saw a naked figure in the heavy rain. That is a big man about 1.78 meters tall, with visible muscles on his bare upper body. The latissimus dorsi is not an exaggeration, but it can reveal a sense of strength and beauty. Jiang Hao's footsteps unconsciously stopped. He has been in this world for a month now, and it's not the first time he's seen a street performer. But at this moment, the scene gave Jiang Hao a familiar feeling. Click. Accompanied by the sound of 2 crisp wooden sticks shattering. Then came the sound of metal falling to the ground. 2 red tassels broke apart under the force of the naked man. Breaking 2 red tassels is not a big deal. But the problem is that he broke it with the tip of his gun against his neck. This is very impressive. Upon seeing this scene, a name suddenly rang out in Jiang Hao's mind. Zhendong. A Shandong Great Han who knows iron cloth shirt and eagle claw skill. When watching the movie, Zhendong's death once made Jiang Hao feel regretful. Is Zhendong powerful? The answer is yes, Zhendong is very powerful. Even after Huang Feihong used his unique skill Foshan Invisible Foot, Zhendong resisted hard. This is one of the few people in Foshan who can confront Huang Feihong head-on with invincible feet. Zhendong's iron cloth shirt is practiced very well. I have reached a point where even ordinary swords cannot break through defenses. It shows how skilled he is in practicing his iron cloth shirt. But it's just such a powerful person. In the end, he embarked on an shameless path. Becoming the so-called master of the Sheikh gang, which kidnaps and sells people, collects protection fees, and sells big cigarettes. It's called a master, but in fact, it's more like a bodyguard. The people of the Sheikh gang showed him no respect at all. Finally, he died at the gunfire of foreigners. Even ordinary swords and guns cannot break through the iron cloth shirt, but in the end, they died under the firearm of foreigners. It must be said that this is the tragedy of a warrior. It is also a tragedy of the times. But judging from Zhendong's initial performance, he is actually a person with principles. Unfortunately, principles cannot make people eat enough. Fall cannot be blamed on Zhendong, human nature is like that. So he ultimately assisted Zhou in his tyrannical death, and there was nothing to sympathize with. But none of this matters. Because these are all things that haven't happened yet. For Jiang Hao now, when he saw Zhendong, he knew that he had another path to the future. End of this chapter. Chapter 3, Advance Payment for Wages. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3, Advance Payment for Wages. Squat down. Zhendong picked up one after another the money given by the onlookers around him. Not much money, and they are all copper coins. This money is at most enough for him to buy something to eat, and he can't even find a place to stay at night. However, all of this money was earned through personal labor, so there's nothing embarrassing about it. For someone like him who wanders in the world and is sometimes so poor that he can't even afford to eat and needs to go hungry, face or something is not important at all. Filling the stomach is the hard truth. Of course, this also strengthened his idea of opening a martial arts school in Foshan and making a name for himself. He really doesn't want to continue living these days. Quickly, Zhendong picked up all the money on the ground. There are only a dozen or so copper coins in total, not much, so naturally it won't take much time to pick them up. And while he was picking up the money, the people around him were also scattered. Wait until Zhendong stands up. Unexpectedly, there was still a person standing next to him who hadn't left and was looking at him. This made Zhendong frown. Master, are you practicing external skills? Jiang Hao volunteered. Zhendong glanced at Jiang Hao but didn't speak. Obviously, he didn't intend to pay attention to Jiang Hao. Judging from your appearance, unlike a native of Guangdong, I don't know if there is a place to live. I have a small courtyard, and if the master doesn't mind, you can come and borrow it from me for a period of time. Upon hearing Jiang Hao's words, Zhendong, who had not paid much attention to them, took a deep look at Jiang Hao. He has been sleeping on the street for a few days now. If possible, he also wants to have a place to live where he can shelter from the wind and rain. But he really can't afford to stay at the inn. He's having trouble eating now. Don't even mention it. Upon hearing that Jiang Hao had a place to live, he was immediately moved. Not bad, I'm practicing the external skill, iron cloth shirt. You've asked so many questions, what's up? Zhendong is not a sealed oil bottle. He just didn't understand what Jiang Hao wanted at first. Now that I have listened to Jiang Hao's words, I know that he must have some purpose, which is why he took the initiative to approach him. In this situation, it's not the first time. I don't know how to address it. Qilu Zhendong. It turned out to be Master Yen. I am under the jurisdiction of Jiang Hao, the vast and boundless river of the Yangtze River. I am disturbing Master Yen, but in fact I want to worship Master Yen as my teacher. Apprentice. Zhendong was not surprised either. He just looked up and down carefully at Jiang Hao. You are already old and practicing martial arts is already too late. Moreover, I am practicing the external skill, iron cloth shirt, which is not rare in the martial arts world. Practicing it well not only takes time, but also requires a lot of hardship. You are not the first person I met who wanted to learn from me, but those people, after I really taught them how to cultivate iron cloth shirts, all chose to give up in a few days. I want to learn my iron cloth shirt. I am willing to offer a apprenticeship gift of 100 taels of silver. Before Zhendong could finish speaking, Jiang Hao interrupted him directly. Zhendong was taken aback. Staring at Jiang Hao in shock. 100 taels. Not bad, 100 taels, and if Master Yen is willing to accept me as a disciple, I will also take care of your retirement in the future. Seeing Zhendong's disbelief, he looked up and down again. Jiang Hao smiled and said, 100 taels of silver is not a small amount, Master Yen probably doesn't believe it. But it doesn't matter, Master Yen may not know that I am the head chef of Heshenglu, the best business in this city, with a daily wage of 1 or 2 silver coins. 100 taels of silver is not much for me. Is there 1 or 2 silver coins a day? Zhendong was somewhat surprised. Earning 1 or 2 silver dollars a day is definitely a high salary in an era where many people cannot eat enough or even starve to death. Upon hearing Jiang Hao's words, Zhendong hesitated for a moment. 100 taels of silver is not a small amount. A penny cannot defeat a hero. He still wants to open a martial arts school in Guangdong. If he doesn't have the money, what martial arts school should he open? Can't we just find an empty space to recruit apprentices? In this situation, who would worship him as a teacher? Isn't that just a joke? If he really had 100 taels of silver, he could have used this money to rent a sizable yard in Foshan and open a martial arts school. Even if he doesn't open it temporarily, this money can help him avoid worrying about food, shelter. Moreover, Jiang Hao is also a famous chef. From his perspective, he seems to be a great chef. If Master Yen doesn't believe it, we can go to Husheng Tower in the city now and ask for it ourselves. Then Master Yen will know whether what I said is true or false. Zhendong ultimately failed to reject Jiang Hao's proposal. However, before going to Husheng building, Jiang Hao suggested going to his small courtyard to change into clean clothes. At the moment when the two had just spoken, the originally fierce heavy rain had already stopped and did not continue. And the clothes they are wearing now are all wet. Even if they have good physical fitness, they are not afraid of catching a cold. But changing into clean clothes is better than wearing wet clothes on the body. After changing into clean clothes, Jiang Hao took Zhendong directly to Husheng building. "Ah Hao, why are you back again?" The shopkeeper Li Ming was slightly stunned when he saw Jiang Hao coming back, and then greeted him with a smile. At the same time, there are also some surprises in my heart. After Jiang Hao left on weekdays, he never saw anyone until the next day. I was surprised to see him twice in a day today. But he soon realized that Jiang Hao was not alone. "Uncle Li, this is Master Zhendong from Qilu. He is very skilled and not inferior to Master Huang. I plan to apprentice Master Yen. So, I want to advance 80 taels of silver in the store first to pay my respects," Jiang Hao said with a smile, directly explaining his purpose. "And Zhendong is also looking over here. He needs to confirm whether Jiang Hao has deceived himself." However, seeing Jiang Hao skillfully greeting Li Ming, he was basically certain that Jiang Hao had not deceived him. Li Ming didn't expect Jiang Hao to come back because of this matter. To be honest, it is definitely impossible to advance salary. 80 taels of silver is not a small amount. But this is for others. Jiang Hao is different. He knows better than anyone why the business with Xinglu has become so popular during this period. It's because there's more Jiang Hao. Because of his good cooking skills, he has had more repeat customers, and his business has naturally improved. So when Jiang Hao said he wanted to advance his wages, although he did not directly agree, he did not refuse either. "Ah Hao, what you're doing is not in accordance with the rules," Li Ming said. Jiang Hao just smiled and looked at him. There was no change in the expression on his face. "Smart stinky kid." Seeing Jiang Hao's expression, Li Ming didn't know that Jiang Hao had already taken care of him. For those who run a restaurant business, a good cook is very important. Jiang Hao has good cooking skills. If Heshenglu doesn't want him, he can always switch jobs and work at other restaurants. Foshan is very large, with no less than 20 restaurants doing business. Jiang Hao's cooking skills are displayed there. Moreover, due to the good business of Heshenglu, his name is actually in Foshan and he already has some. If Jiang Hao doesn't advance 80 taels of wages, this guy's job change would not be good news for Heshenglu. So Li Ming quickly smiled and turned around, saying, "However, that's for others. I know your skills, Ah Hao. Because of you, Heshenglu has earned a lot of money this month, but it's just an advance payment of wages, no problem. And starting tomorrow, your wages will increase from 1 or 2 silver coins per day to 1 or 2 or 4 coins. How about that? Then I'll thank you, Uncle Li. Jiang Hao nodded with a smile. Zhendong saw all of this in his eyes. He is not a brainless person either, as can be seen from here. Jiang Hao should be quite important to Heshenglu. If it is important to a restaurant, it indicates that Jiang Hao's cooking skills are very good. Thinking of this, he had already intended to take Jiang Hao as his disciple. It's not because of the 100 taels of silver for the apprenticeship ceremony, but because he thinks that Jiang Hao, as an apprentice, has skills. And Jiang Haoren is also tall and handsome, worthy of the sword eyebrows and stars, with a handsome appearance. Having the ability, the person also looks very good. Such an apprentice, it would be very prestigious to take him out. End of this chapter. Chapter 4, Apprentice Zhendong. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4, Apprentice Zhendong. Jiang Hao was not surprised that Li Ming gave him long-term wages. Heshenglu, because his business has improved a lot, gave him long-term wages just to bind him and prevent him from leaving Heshenglu. Ultimately, the reason is still because he can bring him greater benefits. However, Li Ming's willingness to offer him a salary increase is enough to demonstrate that he is smart enough and has good judgment. Gratitude is not enough, after all, he never procrastinates when cooking, and he deserves no amount of money. But the favorability still increased a bit. As for why only 80 taels of silver were advanced, it was naturally because Jiang Hao had over 20 taels of silver in his hands. Adding these 80 taels already exceeds 100 taels. Enough for apprenticeship. If there's really no money left, just make an advance. Take the advance payment of 80 taels. Jiang Hao personally cooked in the kitchen and prepared a table of dishes for Zhendong. After they had eaten and drank enough, they returned to Jiang Hao's small courtyard. Subsequently, in the small courtyard, Zhendong also officially accepted Jiang Hao as his disciple. Ah Hao, I have accepted someone as my disciple without too much formalities. Just pass me a cup of apprenticeship tea, that's enough. As for the 100 taels of silver for the apprenticeship gift, just give me 50 taels. You can keep the remaining 50 liang for yourself. Zhendong also saw that Jiang Hao was genuinely apprentice. So, he also made some concessions. Because he also intends to sincerely accept Jiang Hao as his disciple. Pass on everything you know to him. He is from Qilu and has a sincere heart. If Jiang Hao is honest with him, he is willing to sincerely accept him. This, don't refuse, since you have chosen to worship me as your teacher and learn my iron cloth shirt and eagle claw technique, eating more every day is definitely necessary. And you must suddenly have some flesh, otherwise your body will not be able to keep up with the consumption and recovery. And buying meat can cost a lot of money. Upon hearing this, Jiang Hao nodded but did not refuse. Because he thinks Zhendong is right. And it won't be given now, and it will be the same in the future. He said he was serious about providing retirement for Zhendong. After all, Jiang Hao himself doesn't know if he can go back in the future. Coming into this world, apart from obtaining a system, he has no additional information. There is no task, and I don't know when I can leave this world and go back. Anyway, I don't know anything. Since that's the case, I don't want to do that much. With a proficiency system in place, one must live beyond the millennium no matter what. Because there was no tea at home, Jiang Hao even went out to buy some tea and came back. After handing over the apprenticeship tea, the master-disciple relationship between Jiang Hao and Zhendong was finally settled. Because it was already late, Jiang Hao didn't rush to ask Zhendong to teach him iron cloth shirt and eagle claw technique. Although Jiang Hao's courtyard is not large, it also has 2 rooms. The master and disciple happen to have 1 room per person. The next morning, just as dawn broke, the long-established biological clock made Jiang Hao wake up automatically. Next is dressing and washing up. At this point, Jiang Hao usually wakes up and does some push-ups, then starts doing radio gymnastics, and then goes for a run. That's how his radio gymnastics and running levels were developed. When Jiang Hao woke up, Zhendong also woke up. It is normal for a martial arts practitioner to practice Sanjiu in winter and Sanfu in summer. Practicing martial arts, without suffering a bit, how can one achieve success? If you don't torture yourself by running to the gym, don't even think about having a good figure, let alone practicing martial arts. Master, you're up now. How about I buy some breakfast and you start teaching me martial arts after finishing? Jiang Hao suggested. Zhendong did not refuse and nodded. Go ahead, buy more. There's something in your stomach that will give you energy during practice. As for commanding Jiang Hao to do things. As a master, please direct your disciple to do what's wrong. And Jiang Hao didn't think there was anything wrong with it either. Since Zhendong has been appointed as his teacher, then he is his elder. When dealing with elders, parents have taught him from a young age to understand respect. So Jiang Hao has long developed a personality of respecting the elderly and loving the young. Zhendong is now his master, so he naturally has to respect him. It's appropriate to rush to do dirty and tiring work as an apprentice. As for some people saying that Zhendong is just a movie character, doing so would embarrass him as a time traveler. Jiang Hao will only give him one sentence, go to your MD. It's okay if you don't learn from Zhendong. Since we have already worshipped him as our teacher, we must treat him as an elder. How others treat you sincerely if you don't treat them sincerely. Jiang Hao doesn't consider himself a gentleman because he also has problems with himself. But he is willing to be someone close to a gentleman. Not being a refined egoist. Soon, Jiang Hao bought a lot of breakfast and came back. Meat buns, hot noodles. Both the master and disciple have good physical fitness and a large appetite. We each ate 7/10 full. But it's almost there. Early in the morning, it's not good to eat too much. Eating too much carbon water makes one drowsy. 7% full is just right. After finishing his meal, Zhendong officially began teaching Jiang Hao martial arts. Hao, please tell me about your situation first. Have you ever been exposed to martial arts before? Before teaching Jiang Hao, Zhendong asked about his own situation. Subsequently, Jiang Hao also shared his own situation with Zhendong. In addition to practicing radio gymnastics and doing push-ups, running and other exercises. He has never practiced any martial arts. It is obvious that Jiang Hao is completely a novice. After listening to Jiang Hao's words, Zhendong nodded. You haven't been exposed to anything related to martial arts, so I need to lay the foundation for you first. Today, I will first talk to you about the structure of the human body and some of the meridians on the body. Throughout the morning, Jiang Hao only listened to Zhendong's lecture. At the same time, he would also raise doubts about Zhendong's confusion, and Zhendong would patiently explain to Jiang Hao. After all, if you really accepted this disciple, then you still need some patience. Speaking until noon. The two of them went to Hexin building. Jiang Hao ate something casually and started to take over the cooking. And Zhendong ate his lunch directly at the restaurant. After finishing his meal, he stayed at Hexin building for a while before leaving. Because he had Jiang Hao as his disciple, he no longer went to roadside stalls to perform. Shame is one thing, and most importantly, it doesn't earn much money. He has money now, so there's no need to do this at all. In the blink of an eye. Half a month has passed. Name, Jiang Hao, age, 26, force, 7, body, 7, God, 8, skills. Cooking LV4, 37620/100000, language proficiency LV4, 833/100000, broadcast gymnastics L4, 68999/100000, running L4, 91621/100000, Iron Cloth Shirt LV2, 382/1000, Eagle Claw LV2, 240/1000, PS, LV1 Beginner, LV2 Proficient, LV3 Minor, LV4 Major, LV5 Successful, LV6 Transcendent, LV7 Transcendent, LV8 Divine. Half a month has passed and Jiang Hao has successfully entered the Iron Cloth Shirt and Eagle Claw skills, even achieving proficiency in LV2 by mastering them. The proficiency of LV2 is at least equivalent to 2 or 3 years of hard work for an ordinary person to achieve. And Jiang Hao achieved it in just half a month. Proficiency panel, terrifying. End of this chapter. Chapter 5, Half Moon, LV2 Iron Cloth Eagle Claw Skill. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5, Half Moon, LV2 Iron Cloth Eagle Claw Skill. But Jiang Hao can make such great progress. The effort is equally significant. Although the proficiency panel makes Jiang Hao equivalent to using cheats. But his daily cultivation is also quite arduous. The cultivation of Iron Cloth Shirt is very simple, that is to be beaten. Of course, it's not just about being beaten. While being beaten, it is necessary to have a coordinated breathing method to exercise one's skin, muscles, and bones. It sounds simple, but it's actually not easy. After all, being beaten is the kind that really hurts with every beat. Going down with one stick is equivalent to getting around 70% of the strength of an ordinary person's stick. Every stick belongs to agony. At the beginning, when Bu Shan was still in LV1, Jiang Hao was beaten to death every day. I can't even lie down to sleep at night. In the first few days, Jiang Hao didn't even go to Husheng building. Li Mingren came over and thought Jiang Hao had run away with the money. Fortunately, it took 5 days to successfully brush the beginner's Iron Cloth Shirt until it became proficient. Jiang Hao felt much better. Every morning when he wakes up, Zhendong takes a wooden stick that is about the size of an adult's arm and helps Jiang Hao practice his Iron Cloth Shirt. At noon, Jiang Hao went to work upstairs at Husheng building, and Zhendong followed along. Lunch will be resolved at Husheng building. After finishing, he returned to the courtyard alone. Jiang Hao took over directly at Husheng building and was busy until around 6 or 7 p.m. when he returned to the yard. Then start practicing Eagle Claw technique. Compared to the Iron Cloth Shirt, the proficiency of Eagle Claw technique is much easier to master. As long as you practice step by step, you can improve your proficiency significantly. The more serious, the higher the proficiency. If Jiang Hao focuses on practicing Eagle Claw technique once, he can increase his proficiency by about 3 points at a time. Bang bang bang. The sound of wooden sticks hitting one's body rang out. From around 11 to 12 sticks, Jiang Hao can see that the proficiency of the Iron Cloth Shirt has increased slightly. The current proficiency level of Iron Cloth Shirts is nearly 400. That is to say, with only 600 proficiency points left, he still needs to endure about 7,000 sticks to brush the Iron Cloth Shirt to LV3. Now Jiang Hao can get over 200 sticks a day, nearly 300 sticks. This is the limit of his body, and with too much, his body can no longer bear it. This is also a person whose body has reached 7 and God has reached 8. Otherwise, if they change bodies, they will be 5 and God will be 5. 20 or 30 sticks a day is enough. Because later on, it is no longer entirely determined by physical fitness. God is equally important. Because God represents your willpower. The level of tolerance for pain. Of course, Jiang Hao's cooking skills have also made significant progress. I increased my proficiency by over 30,000 in half a month. Compared to Iron Cloth Shirt and Eagle Claw skill, it's not just a little faster. But this should be related to the different emphasis on cooking and martial arts. In addition, the proficiency in running and radio gymnastics has not increased significantly. Although I have learned Iron Cloth Shirt and Eagle Claw technique. But radio gymnastics and running, Jiang Hao, also did not fall behind. I also spend time doing it once or twice a day. If you run, you will also run 10 kilometers a day. However, most of them are placed after practicing eagle claw technique at night. After running, go straight to sleep. It can be said that for half a month, Jiang Hao has been using his time every day. There is no waste at all. Very self-disciplined. It is difficult for people to exercise self-discipline. But Jiang Hao has good self-control. It can be seen from his divine reaching 8. Learning language talent is important, but self-discipline is also indispensable. It is precisely because of sufficient self-discipline that Jiang Hao was able to master the 7 languages at the age of 26. After being beaten more than 30 sticks. Jiang Hao's back, chest, biceps, and forearms were basically subjected to 2-3 rolls. Everything is incredibly red. Of course, it's just red and not swollen or congested. But the pain is still very painful. Ah Hao, take a break for half a stick of incense first, slow down a bit, and we'll continue later. Zhendong put down his wooden stick. Okay, Jiang Hao nodded. Now my whole body is in excruciating pain from being hit by a wooden stick. He can only tolerate pain, and having enough willpower does not mean he can ignore the pain. If the pain is too much, he will also grit his teeth and make a sound. After resting for 20 minutes, the master and disciple continued. The morning passed quickly. After receiving about 300 sticks, the two of them stopped. After touching his body with vinegar, Jiang Hao put on his clothes and left the courtyard with Zhendong. Still going to work upstairs in Xiaocheng. However, after work today, Jiang Hao did not go home directly. Although the speed of cultivating iron cloth shirts is already fast enough. But according to his current progress, it will take him at least 20 more days to cultivate the iron cloth shirt to the level of LV3. The success of LV4, with a proficiency level of over 20 points per day, would take at least 1 year, while the success of LV5 is estimated to take 8 to 9 years. It's been too long. Even if Jiang Hao is not an impatient person. But it's still too long. Because the longer it takes, the more it affects Jiang Hao's future plans. Jiang Hao doesn't plan to continue working as a cook in Xiaocheng. He can endure hardship, but that doesn't mean Jiang Hao likes to endure hardship. If he had money without having to work, he would be happy not to work and focus on his cultivation. In order to change my current situation as soon as possible, Jiang Hao plans to accelerate his growth rate. The best way to accelerate one's growth rate with a proficiency panel is to accelerate the growth of proficiency. So after getting off work, Jiang Hao didn't go home immediately. But I went directly to Baozhilin. He wants to go to Baozhilin to see if there is any medicine that can relieve pain and accelerate the recovery of external skin injuries. If there are any, one can completely use drugs to accelerate the growth of proficiency. In this way, he can break through faster. Baozhi Forest in Foshan is considered a relatively famous place. After all, this is where the famous Huang Feihong lives. In the territory of Foshan, Huang Feihong's name is extremely well known. Not only because of his good skills, but also because he is very skilled. Because of his excellent character, gentle like a gentleman, his actions are mostly those of a great man. I often help those in need on weekdays. Therefore, the reputation is excellent. Lu Yongfu, who was then the commander-in-chief of Nanao town in Guangdong, greatly appreciated him and regarded him as a forgetful friend. And hired him as the chief instructor of the Black Flag Army. Therefore, Huang Feihong is very famous in the Foshan area. Of course, Lu Yongfu has already gone to war with the French in Annan. However, many Black Flag armies ordered by the court to be laid off have now formed civilian groups in Foshan and are under the management of Huang Feihong. When Jiang Hao arrived at Baozhi Forest, he did not see Huang Feihong. But I met Huang Feihong's 2 disciples. Ling Yunkai and Ye Wiped Su. The character Ling Yunkai only appeared in the first part, and he did not appear in the second part. Ye Mo Su is a representative disciple of Huang Feihong. He has more appearances than Lin Shirong. Moreover, although Ye Mo Su was also Huang Feihong's disciple, he only learned medical skills from Huang Feihong and never learned his martial arts. End of this chapter. Chapter 6, Baozhilin Buying Drop Tajiu. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Chapter 6, Baozhilin Buying Drop Tajiu. Do you want to see a doctor or take medication? Ling Yunkai said directly when he saw Jiang Hao coming in. The master is not here, but the toothbrush Su is there. He knows how to apply medicine. If you see a doctor, you have to find the toothbrush Su. However, the medical skills of Yamaosu are not yet at home, and most injuries caused by falls can be seen. Huang Feihong also told him when he left. If it's just a simple drop injury, you can directly let your teeth rub against it. If it's a serious illness, if it's urgent, push it to another clinic. If it's not urgent, either wait for him to come back or come back next time. Jiang Hao, this time I'm here to ask if Baozhilin has the kind of medicine that can slightly alleviate people's pain and accelerate their recovery from external injuries. Upon hearing Jiang Hao's words, Ling Yunkai was taken aback for a moment. According to your statement, TikTok wine meets your requirements. Yes, it's just a drop in the bucket. Jiang Hao was also the first to encounter this aspect, and Zhendong was also a pure warrior. As someone who doesn't understand medical skills, he probably didn't think about using TikTok wine to complement the cultivation of iron cloth shirts. Of course, it could also be that he forgot or felt that Jiang Hao had worked hard enough in his cultivation. I don't think it's necessary to use decanter to speed up his pace. Haste makes waste. If you want to drink alcohol, I'll go get it for you. Wait a minute. Quickly, Ling Yunkai brought back a bottle of TikTok wine. How much is it? 5 taels of silver per bottle. Ling Yunkai quoted. Jiang Hao was stunned for a moment, thinking he had heard the wrong thing. Ling Yunkai knew why Jiang Hao was stunned when he saw his expression. He smiled and said. This is your first time buying a Daida bar. Our Baozhilin Daida liquor is well known for its better medicinal effects compared to other hospitals' Daida liquor. And the thing, Daida requires a lot of medicinal herbs, with 38 different ingredients alone. Although most of them are not expensive, there are also a few more expensive ones. The cost of one bottle is over 4 liang. I don't make any money from you anymore. At most, it's just earning hard money and earning a living. After all, this drop to drink is an exclusive secret recipe developed by my master Huang Feihong himself. You can't buy such a good thing anywhere else you want. And even our Baozhilin doesn't have much to drink. If you buy this bottle, we only have 4 bottles of Baozhilin left. You think it's expensive, I still think it's expensive. Upon hearing Ling Yunkai's words, Jiang Hao didn't have much doubt. After all, his master is Huang Feihong. Who is Huang Feihong? From the movie, it can be seen that he is very strict in educating his disciples. Any disciple who makes a mistake cannot do without a stern preaching. Ling Yunkai is a disciple of Huang Feihong, so he dare not speak recklessly and deceive him. Okay, 5 liang is 5 liang. Jiang Hao did not bargain either. I gave Zhendong 50 taels of the apprenticeship gift, and although Jiang Hao spent some of the remaining 50 taels in half a month, he still has more than 40 taels on hand. Silver still has sufficient purchasing power now. During this period, even if he and Zhendong have been eating meat every day. But after half a month, I only spent 7 or 8 taels of silver. Not cheap, but not particularly expensive either. People who practice martial arts eat a lot and spend a lot, it's normal. After buying a good drop in alcohol, Jiang Hao left directly. When he returned to the courtyard, Zhendong had already been waiting for a long time. Ah Hao, why are you back so late today? Master, I went to Baozhi Forest to buy medicine. Buy medicine. What kind of medicine should I buy? I plan to speed up my cultivation of iron cloth shirt, as it is known as Tajiu. Zhendong frowned. Ah how, I know you're in a hurry, but practicing the iron cloth shirt is not something that can be rushed. In fact, it's the more than 200 sticks you're suffering from every day, and I was worried that you wouldn't be able to resist it from the beginning. If you add more, I'm afraid your body won't be able to handle it. Jiang Hao knew that Zhendong was really concerned about him when he said these words. But Jiang Hao has no such concerns at all. Because once his body is enlarged, some of the dark injuries on his previous body will be repaired. When he first crossed over, Jiang Hao's body was only 5. Although he studies well. But there are more or less minor physical problems. When practicing running every day, I also had some minor problems with my feet and knees due to running too far every day. P.S. This is the author's personal experience. He ran for an hour every day for a week without much pain in his knees, but his ankles and heels were sore. Later on, he realized that running cannot be done every day, and running so much requires a certain amount of exercise. But after breaking through in running and radio gymnastics, he added a 2-point body. All the minor ailments on my body are gone. Jiang Hao knew that his body had been digitized. The increase in body is similar to character upgrades in games. As long as you upgrade, negative situations will increase your health to its maximum state. So in terms of cultivating iron cloth shirts, Jiang Hao actually has no worries. Even if it is a physical injury, as long as the level is increased and the body is enhanced, no matter how many hidden injuries he receives, he will be repaired, it doesn't matter at all. Otherwise, even if Jiang Hao is a bit anxious, he wouldn't take the risk of doing so either. What would he do to live until the millennium if he broke his body? Master, don't worry, I understand my own physical condition. Don't worry. Starting from today, I won't run at night or anything else. Apart from practicing eagle claw technique, I will also spend the rest of my time practicing iron cloth shirts. I need to trouble you, master. Hey, okay, since you insist on doing this, I won't advise you much. Although Zhendong is a master, Jiang Hao is still an adult. He has his own way of thinking about things, and he is not easy to manage too broadly. Perhaps Jiang Hao suffered and gave up on his own. It's not too late to persuade him to give up when the time comes. As for the trouble, hitting you with a stick every day is also a physical task. Don't forget what you said before about raising me old. Ha ha ha, don't worry, master. I, Jiang Hao, speak confidently. If I give you retirement, I will definitely give you retirement. Zhendong was even joking. This made Jiang Hao a little happy. Jiang Hao knew that he had started to change Zhendong unconsciously. This is good news for both Jiang Hao and Zhendong. Then, it's time to practice eagle claw technique. Quickly, 2 hours passed. It takes about 10 minutes to complete a set of eagle claw skills. Playing 10 sets in 2 hours, one set can increase proficiency by 3 points. Compared to the iron cloth shirt, the proficiency of eagle claw technique seems to have increased faster. Jiang Hao thinks that this may be related to his not practicing hard, but rather his serious thinking during the practice. The iron cloth shirt is ultimately an external skill, which is different from the martial arts routine of eagle claw technique. The cultivation of iron cloth shirts relies more on eating and being beaten. After 10 sets, Jiang Hao was also exhausted. However, he is tall and reaches 7 o'clock. 40% higher than the average person. 40% may not seem like much, but in reality, it's already quite a lot. This means that Jiang Hao's endurance is not only more than 40% higher than that of ordinary people, but also that his endurance recovery speed is much higher than that of normal adult males. End of this chapter. Chapter 7, Iron Cloth Shirt Xiaocheng. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7, Iron cloth shirt Xiaocheng. After resting for half an hour, I relaxed by doing a set of radio exercises. Jiang Hao took off his shirt, while Zhendong also picked up a wooden stick. Soon, the sound of wooden sticks smashing meat echoed in the yard. Every 10 strokes, Jiang Hao can see the proficiency of the iron cloth shirt increasing by 1 point. Looking at the system panel, Jiang Hao diverted his attention and asked himself not to feel the pain on his body. The master and disciple practiced until almost early morning before stopping. And Jiang Hao's proficiency has also increased by more than 20 points. After eating something casually, the two of them went back to their rooms to rest. Jiang Hao was in pain and tired, and Zhendong was also not relaxed. He was the one who beat Jiang Hao with a wooden stick, and compared to Jiang Hao who was beaten, he was not much easier. Even if he didn't use all his strength with each stroke, he would still feel tired after more attempts, and he didn't hit Jiang Hao randomly. His wooden stick hitting Jiang Hao's body stimulated his muscles, bones, and skin. If you mess around, it's useless. And it also needs to cooperate with Jiang Hao's breathing, playing rhythmically. His attention was also focused throughout the entire process. This set also consumes a lot of energy. He sincerely accepted Jiang Hao as his disciple. And Jiang Hao, this disciple, also worked hard to satisfy him. Otherwise, he really wouldn't be willing to help with this. I'm too tired. In the room, open the drop hit wine I bought from Baozhilin today and cover the area where I was hit with a stick all over. The area that was originally hot and painful first felt a sharp pain, and Jiang Hao almost screamed in pain. Sitting on the bed, he gritted his teeth. After a moment, the sting disappeared, followed by a refreshing sensation. The original pain has also been greatly relieved. Good thing. Jiang Hao's eyes lit up. The effect of this drop on alcohol is surprisingly good. I just hope its effect is good, and after waking up tomorrow, I won't feel too much pain on my body. Taking advantage of the relief of his pain, Jiang Hao went straight to sleep. There was nothing to say overnight. The next day, Jiang Haotian woke up just when he was feeling a little gray due to the habit he had already formed in his biological clock. Sit up from the bed. The solid hardwood bed made him sleep very uncomfortable. But to Jiang Hao's delight, he did not feel any pain on his body. That is to say, the sticks he received last night did not affect his practice of iron cloth shirt this morning. For Jiang Hao, this is great news. Because this represents that by practicing together during the day and at night, he can achieve a proficiency level of around 50 in a day. The proficiency level of iron cloth shirt is currently 422 points, and there is still 578 points left to break through to the level of LV3. Unlike being proficient, reaching Xiaocheng is a qualitative change for Tai Bu Shan. According to the current proficiency increase of around 50 per day. He only needs 11 or 12 days to brush the iron cloth shirt to LV3 if the time spent practicing eagle claw technique is also used on the iron cloth shirt, the speed can still be faster. But it's not necessary to do so. Eagle claw technique is an offensive technique that is equally important to Jiang Hao. So Jiang Hao had no intention of doing this. He can still wait for more than 10 days. In the blink of an eye, 11 days have passed. In Jiang Hao's small courtyard. Jiang Hao was naked on his upper body. Zhendong held a wooden stick and slammed it at Jiang Hao. Each stick is not small in strength. Jiang Hao's back has been smashed and turned red. Jiang Hao gritted his teeth tightly, stumbling forward with his eyes fixed on the front. Of course, Jiang Hao's attention was not ahead. But on the system panel that only he can see. Name, Jiang Hao, age, 26, force, 7, body, 7, god, 8, skills. Cooking LV4, 52620/100000, language proficiency LV4, 977/100000, broadcast gymnastics L4, 70099/100000, running L4, 92621/100000, Iron Cloth Shirt LV2, 998/1000. Eagle Claw LV2, 570/1000, PS, LV1 Beginner, LV2 Proficient, LV3 Minor, LV4 Major, LV5 Successful, LV6 Transcendent, LV7 Transcendent, LV8 Divine, only 2 points away. The distance from the Iron Cloth Shirt breakthrough is only 2 points away from proficiency. After more than 20 sticks, the last point of poor proficiency is added. The Iron Cloth Shirt has successfully broken through the small achievement realm of LV3. As the Iron Cloth Shirt broke through Xiaocheng, Jiang Hao also felt a heat flow in his body. The originally burning pain on his body disappeared completely at the same time. Name, Jiang Hao, age, 26, force, 7+2, body, 7+2, God, 8, skills. Cooking LV4, 52620/100000, language proficiency LV4, 977/100000, broadcast gymnastics L4, 70099/100000, running L4, 92621/100000, Iron Cloth Shirt LV3, 0/10,000. Eagle Claw LV2, 570/1000, PS, LV1 Beginner, LV2 Proficient, LV3 Minor, LV4 Major, LV5 Successful, LV6 Transcendent, LV7 Transcendent, LV8 Divine. The Iron Cloth Shirt entered Xiaocheng, and both strength and body were increased by 2 points each. Jiang Hao can clearly feel the improvement of his own strength. As for the changes in his body, he didn't feel as obvious. And all these changes, Zhendong naturally did not know. After another round of fighting, he put down his stick and went to the side to drink tea. Hitting someone is also very tiring. After each round, he will rest for 3 to 5 minutes. Not only does he need rest, but Jiang Hao also needs rest. Even if Jiang Hao is made of iron, his body still needs some time to relax. When he finished drinking tea, he suddenly found Jiang Hao standing there with an excited expression on his face. What surprised him even more was that Jiang Hao, who had just been beaten by him, turned red all over, like a cooked shrimp, but now he is not red. It feels like two people have just started. Actually, tonight's cultivation is almost over. Ah Hao, who are you? Zhendong was somewhat surprised. It's nothing, just a breakthrough. I feel like my Iron Cloth Shirt is even more powerful than before. Master, give me another try, this time it's more powerful. Jiang Hao was very excited at the moment, and his Iron Cloth Shirt successfully broke through. He didn't get beaten in vain during this period. Are you sure? Master, I can't do anything else, but I have a lot of strength. Come on, Master, I can handle it, Jiang Hao confirmed. Okay, then stand still, I'm here. Seeing Jiang Hao's determination, Zhendong didn't refuse anymore and picked up the stick again. I'm standing up, Master, come on, Jiang Hao nodded in response, and the person slightly bowed and stood, gesturing for Zhendong to come directly. End of this chapter. Chapter 8, Bu Shan Xiao Cheng 2, 3 Changes, Seeking Recommended Monthly Pass. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8, Bu Shan Xiao Cheng 2, 3 Changes, Seeking Recommended Monthly Pass, bang. Zhendong hit Jiang Hao's back with a stick. This stick added a lot of strength to Zhendong. The tremendous force made Jiang Hao unable to stand firmly, and he leaned forward directly. I almost fell and ate shit. Zhendong has been practicing martial arts for many years, and he is skilled in techniques such as Iron Cloth Shirt Eagle Claw technique. His strength is not weak. In terms of strength, Jiang Hao felt that Zhendong's Iron Cloth Shirt and Eagle Claw technique should have already reached great success. The three-dimensional properties, body and spirit, are unclear, but the force is at least around 11 to 14. Not everyone can resist his single blow. Moreover, compared to ordinary people, martial artists have stronger physical fitness and are more adept at using their strength. If an ordinary person punches, with a force of 100 kilograms, they can only deliver over 50 kilograms. And when a warrior punches, 100 kilograms is 100 kilograms, and some are even more powerful, even exceeding this value. With Yan Zhendong's stick, Jiang Hao was not directly drawn away, and he was already considered formidable. Because of this stick, Yan Zhendong used 80% of his strength. Not to mention Jiang Hao, Yan Zhendong himself was also very surprised at the moment. He previously used a wooden stick to help Jiang Hao practice his iron cloth shirt, using only about 40% of his strength. On the ground, Jiang Hao felt a sharp pain in his lower back. Of course, it's just pain, there's no feeling of my waist breaking. He can feel this stick, and the strength used by his master is not small. Before that, with this stick, he would have to lie in bed for at least 2 days and his waist might be injured. But now, apart from initially feeling a lot of pain, now it has basically recovered. Jiang Hao exerted force with both hands, propped himself up, and then stood up from the ground. There is still a slight pain in the back. But the pain is no longer as intense as it was at the beginning. And he found that his master's stick did not have much impact on his physical movements. And Yan Zhendong saw Jiang Hao being smashed down by him with a stick. Just as he was about to go and help him, Jiang Hao got up on his own. Seeing Jiang Hao himself getting up from the ground, Yan Zhendong was overjoyed because it indicated that his iron cloth shirt had at least reached a level of accomplishment. From practicing the iron cloth shirt to now, it has only been over 20 days and not a month has passed. Jiang Hao just finished his iron cloth shirt. Speak it out, who dares to believe it? At first, he suffered a lot and it took him 3 years to train the iron cloth shirt to a small level. As a result, Jiang Hao was useless for a month and achieved his 3-year achievement. If it weren't for what I saw with my own eyes, who would believe it? Ah Hao, have you finished your iron cloth shirt? Yan Zhendong was very surprised and didn't know what to say for a moment. Is this kid exceptionally talented and suitable for iron cloth shirts? But it shouldn't be either. Practicing iron cloth shirts has always been a matter of time, and there has never been a mention of talent. However, during our time together, he also discovered that Jiang Hao's strength was greater than most people's and his endurance recovered faster. Such a person is indeed very suitable for practicing external hard skills such as iron cloth shirt. Thinking of this, Yan Zhendong couldn't help but smile on his face, feeling happy for Jiang Hao. The disciple has great talent, which is naturally something to be happy about, especially since he still regards Jiang Hao as his own disciple. The better Jiang Hao's talent, the happier he naturally becomes. I don't know if it's Xiaocheng, but with your stick just now, except for the initial pain, I've almost recovered now, Jiang Hao smiled. Yan Zhendong inferred that his iron cloth shirt was a small success, which did not surprise Jiang Hao. After all, Yan Zhendong himself was a master of iron cloth shirts. At present, Yan Zhendong is definitely more familiar with the skill of iron cloth shirt than himself. Determine his current state based on his external performance. For him, it's not difficult. Okay. Okay, it doesn't hurt anymore, okay. Yan Zhendong was very happy and said 3 good things in a row. Because he can basically confirm that Jiang Hao's iron cloth shirt is a breakthrough, reaching the level of Xiaocheng. The breakthrough speed is very fast, and even a master like him feels a bit jealous. At first, he reached this level of cultivation, but it took him a full 3 years, and the hardships involved were no less than those of Jiang Hao now. As a result, they reached their 3-year level within half a month, which is really uncomfortable to think about. Being a disciple is a good thing, but being too powerful makes it difficult for him to be a master. It doesn't hurt anymore, it indicates that your iron cloth shirt has indeed been trained to a small extent, very good, much more powerful than when I was a teacher. Zhendong didn't hesitate to praise himself. Master, how long did it take you to reach my current level? Jiang Hao asked with a smile. Zhendong's expression froze for a moment, unsure of what to say. Alright, let's not say how long I spent as a teacher back then. Anyway, it's not much worse than you. But it's a good thing that you can break through the iron cloth shirt to Xiaocheng so quickly. Perhaps you can soon surpass me and cultivate the iron cloth shirt to a perfect state before me. At that time, it's estimated that foreigners' firearms won't be able to threaten you, Zhendong said, almost believing it himself. Of course, this may be related to his lack of experience with the power of foreign firearms. Jiang Hao smiled. I didn't deny it, but I also didn't agree. If Zhendong's iron cloth shirt has already reached its peak, then from the perspective of the movie, Deshang's iron cloth shirt cannot be fireproof. Jiang Hao is not sure if it can be perfect, but it may or may not be. But perhaps it can be achieved through perfection. Zhendong said that a perfect iron cloth shirt can withstand firearms, but he didn't completely believe it. However, Jiang Hao believed that he could soon surpass him. His confidence comes from the system. Because of the system, as long as he keeps improving his proficiency, his progress will be much faster than normal. As for Zhendong's claim that he can handle the firearms of foreigners, even if he achieves it, he will not try. Unless his brain is broken. If one day he were to confront a foreigner, he wouldn't give the other person a chance to shoot. He's not a masochist, he enjoys being shot. If you confront foreigners, you either don't engage in direct combat or don't even give them a chance to shoot. Of course, he is too lazy to provoke foreigners if it's okay, just hope that foreigners don't provoke him. Without thinking too much, Jiang Hao's attention quickly returned to the iron cloth shirt. Master, I have completed my iron cloth shirt. Do I need to change tools for my next cultivation? Zhendong nodded. Now that your iron cloth shirt is small, if you want to improve further, you will need to replace the wooden stick with an iron rod and a cloth rod. When the iron cloth shirt is completed, the iron rod will be replaced with sharp weapons like the big knife. Now you are just a small member of the iron cloth shirt team, with decent resistance to attacks, but you still can't be invincible. But once the iron cloth shirt is completed, ordinary swords will no longer be able to harm you. As long as you don't let the enemy attack your weak areas, such as your lower body, eyes, mouth, and ear cavity, it's difficult for you to get injured. Iron cloth shirts are not invincible golden bell covers. Weakness also exists. However, the impact is not significant. After all, people are not dead, they will only stand there and be chopped. But now that your iron cloth shirt is almost complete, your main focus should be on eagle claw technique. Practice eagle claw technique to a small level as soon as possible. Also, your experience against enemies is too limited, and you have hardly ever touched anyone. Starting from tomorrow, I will accompany you to fight and feed you. Practicing martial arts alone is not enough, we also need to fight. Do you understand? Jiang Hao nodded. Alright, it's getting late. Let's take a shower and go to bed. Then the master and disciple took a shower and went to bed separately. Time has passed, and more than a month has passed. In the blink of an eye, Jiang Hao has been in this world for 2 months now. Name, Jiang Hao, age, 26, force, 10, body, 9, God, 8, skills. Cooking LV5, 1200/100000, language proficiency LV4, 977/100000, broadcast gymnastics L4, 70099/100000, running L4, 92621/100000, iron cloth shirt LV3, 2950/10000, eagle claw LV3, 3570/10000, PS, LV1 Beginner, LV2 Proficient, LV3 Minor, LV4 Major, LV5 Successful, LV6 Transcendent, LV7 Transcendent, LV8 Divine. More than a month has passed. Jiang Hao's iron cloth shirt has increased his proficiency by over 2,000. But what has made greater progress is actually eagle claw skill. Because during this period, Zhendong would feed Jiang Hao every day. In practice, Jiang Hao's proficiency has grown rapidly. And the breakthrough of eagle claw technique also increased Jiang Hao's strength by a little, reaching 10, while his body did not improve and remained at 9 during the new book period. There will be 3 shifts per day. After it is listed, there will be a minimum of 5 shifts per day. Also, I would like to request recommended and monthly tickets, hehe. End of this chapter. Chapter 9, Huang Feihong, 1 shift, seeking recommended monthly tickets. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9, Huang Feihong, 1 shift, seeking recommended monthly tickets. After the breakthrough of eagle claw technique, Jiang Hao's brain also gained a lot of memories. I feel like I've been practicing eagle claw technique for several years. Originally, the eagle claw technique of LV2 was just a routine that Jiang Hao practiced, and the fight could only be relatively smooth, not arbitrary. After breaking through Xiaocheng in eagle claw technique, Jiang Hao felt like he had practiced eagle claw technique for 3 or 4 years. When it comes to fighting, one can do as one pleases, no longer pursuing a single move or pattern. But rather learn to be adaptable. The speed of progress, even if Zhendong had anticipated it earlier, was still surprising. Because even with his guidance, Jiang Hao's progress was too fast. So fast that he doesn't look like a normal person at all. Slowly, he also began to believe what Jiang Hao had said before, that he was a genius. Because besides Jiang Hao being a genius, he has made such rapid progress that it's hard to explain. On that day, Jiang Hao finished his work on the Husheng building and did not return home immediately, but walked towards Baozhilin. His decanter has run out again. This is the 3rd time this month that I have used up my decanter. However, even if iron cloth shirts have reached the level of Xiaocheng and improved their proficiency, there is still a need for drop drinking. If it's gone, we can only go to Baozhilin to buy it. Fortunately, his culinary skills have also improved to the perfection of LV5. Even if you look at the whole world, you can't find a few culinary skills at this level. Because Jiang Hao's cooking skills have improved, and the business of Heshenglu has almost doubled compared to a month ago. As long as Jiang Hao is present every day, Heshenglu is basically fully booked. If there is no one to sit in, why not pack and go home to eat? This shows how good Heshenglu's business is. The business of Heshenglu is so good, and Li Ming is also worried that Jiang Hao will be poached. So it's better to take the initiative to talk to Jiang Haoyan and directly give 20% of the restaurant's shares to him. It has to be said that Li Ming is very intelligent. If 20% of the shares are sent out, Jiang Hao will be directly linked to Heshenglu, and there is no need to worry about Jiang Hao being poached. After all, he doesn't think anyone in Foshan can be more generous than him. That's 20% of the shares. Due to Jiang Hao, the current Husheng building's monthly net profit can reach around 2,500 taels. 20% of the shares represent Jiang Hao's monthly profit of 500 taels. He doesn't believe that any other restaurant can be more daring than him and offer Jiang Hao more profits. Don't look at him giving Jiang Hao 20% of the shares, it seems like he's a bit too much. But that's not how the accounts are calculated. Before Jiang Hao, although the business of Heshenglu was also good. But the net profit for a month is only around 300 to 400 silver coins. Now, although he has to distribute 500 taels of silver to Jiang Hao every month. But I can also earn a net profit of about 2,000 taels of silver myself. He gave his shares to Jiang Hao, and compared to before, he not only did not suffer losses, but also made more profits. And it can also firmly bind Jiang Hao to make money for him. He can't even count money every day now. It has to be said that Li Ming is a very smart businessman. His foresight and generosity are not lacking. Perhaps this is also why he was able to do business with Xinglu. Jiang Hao's good cooking skills are certainly important, but without Li Ming, a generous and visionary shopkeeper, the business of Heshenglu would not have been possible. Although Jiang Hao was not able to receive 500 taels of silver this month. But after repaying the 80 taels of silver that had been prepaid earlier, Jiang Hao's 20% stake also allowed him to receive over 200 taels of silver from Li Ming. Nowadays, Jiang Hao is no longer short of money. At least in terms of food, clothing, and expenses, he is not lacking at all. Upon arriving at Baozhi Forest, the first thing Jiang Hao saw was Ling Yunkai. "Master Jiang, come to buy Dida liquor again." Ling Yunkai greeted Jiang Hao with a smile. Jiang Hao is now somewhat famous in Foshan. Good cooking skills are one thing, and the most important thing is that Jiang Hao was the first person whose cooking skills were so good that the boss, in order to retain talent, directly gave him 20% of the shares in the restaurant. Besides these, this is also Jiang Hao's fourth time buying Dida liquor. Jiang Hao comes to buy a bottle of decanter wine every 10 days or so. Even if he doesn't want to remember Jiang Hao, it's difficult. "Akai, who's here?" Still in the courtyard, towards the main hall, there came a lively voice of questioning. "Master, it's Mr. Fu Jiang, the master of Heshenglu, who is very skilled in cooking." Ling Yunkai shouted towards the main hall. After shouting, Ling Yunkai looked at Jiang Hao and explained with a smile. "Master Jiang, the one who just spoke was my master. My master happened to be in Baozhilin today. Is Master Huang there?" Jiang Hao was somewhat surprised. This is his fourth time coming to Baozhilin. But the first 3 times, he didn't see Huang Feihong in Baozhilin. "Every time I come, Huang Feihong is not here. I didn't expect Huang Feihong to be here this time." Just as he was saying this, a man in a beige long coat who was exactly the same as Brother Jia appeared in Jiang Hao's sight. "I'm Huang Feihong, are you Mr. Jiang from Heshenglu? I heard from Akai before that Mr. Jiang from Heshenglu often comes to Baozhilin to buy drop wine. Ding, contact the main character Huang Feihong, world progress plus 10%, current progress of 10%, ding, congratulations on receiving the reward." 1 tiger and wolf pill can be claimed. The sudden sound in his mind stunned Jiang Hao for a moment. But now is not the time to check these. Jiang Hao instantly regained his senses and spoke out. "I do often come to Baozhilin to buy drop-down liquor. Master Jiang often buys drop-beaten wine, but what's the problem with him? I have good medical skills, why not let me diagnose Master Jiang for you?" Huang Feihong asked. If the person asking is not Huang Feihong, Jiang Hao would suspect that his words have ulterior motives. But in front of him, Huang Feihong, who looks exactly like Brother Jia, Jiang Hao really knows each other's character. Compared to his master Yan Zhendong, he knows more about Huang Feihong. "Master Huang, you're welcome. I still know your medical skills. But no need, it's not that I have any problems with my body, but because I'm practicing the external skill of iron cloth shirt and need to use TikTok wine to assist in cultivation, that's why I often buy it. It's not that I have any problems with my body. Master Huang's kindness is in my heart." "I see." Huang Feihong was somewhat surprised. When Huang Feihong first saw Jiang Hao, he was surprised by his tall and majestic figure. Like an upright tiger. People don't need to do anything, just standing there can give them a lot of pressure. It turned out that it was because of practicing external skills such as iron cloth shirt. The iron cloth shirt is the most difficult external skill to practice. Those who can practice and become famous are all ruthless people. Unexpectedly, Jiang Hao in front of him is also a ruthless person who cultivates iron cloth shirts. "Master Jiang, are you here again to buy drop and beat wine?" Jiang Hao nodded. I don't know if there are many bottles of Baijiu from Baozhilin, but I plan to buy a few more this time. Akai, go and get 3 bottles of drop-beaten wine for Master Jiang. Okay, Master. Ling Yunkai received instructions from his master and immediately ran to get something. In no time, Ling Yunkai came out, but with him was also the Song Godya Mo Su whom Jiang Hao had seen before. Ding, contact the main supporting role Yashusu, world progress plus 5%, current progress of 15%, at the moment I saw my teeth rubbing against Su, the sound that had just sounded in my mind rang out again. However, apart from increasing progress, there were no further rewards this time. End of this chapter. Chapter 10, The Real System, Second Shift, Seeking Recommended Monthly Tickets. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10, Real System, Second Shift, Seeking Recommended Monthly Tickets, Master, there are only 2 bottles of Daida liquor, not 3. Ye Cha Su followed Ling Yunkai behind him, holding 2 bottles of drop wine in his hand. Why are there only 2 bottles left? Didn't there still be 4 bottles yesterday? Huang Feihong asked in confusion. Ye Cha Su said that 2 bottles were taken by senior brother Lin yesterday, and he said he would give the money later. After listening to Ling Yunkai's words, Huang Feihong realized that the other 2 bottles had been taken by his other disciple, Lin Shirong. It's not that he feels sorry for 2 bottles of decanter wine, but that he understands Lin Shirong's personality. He must have been in conflict with someone, causing trouble, and injuring his body when he took the decanter, which is why decanter is needed. Master Jiang, I'm really sorry, there are only 2 bottles of TikTok wine left in Baozhilin. It's okay, 2 bottles are enough for a while. I'll do the same again next time. I'm really sorry, Master Jiang. Master Huang doesn't need to do this. 2 bottles are enough, at least it's not a waste, is it? Jiang Hao asked with a smile. Upon hearing this, Huang Feihong didn't say anything more. I just have a strong liking for Jiang Hao. Jiang Haoren is tall and powerful, with sword eyebrows and starry eyes, and a handsome face. Simply put, people are tall and good-looking. In addition, people also understand etiquette and treat others kindly and politely. Being able to make a little joke to resolve awkwardness indicates emotional intelligence. He likes to be friends with people like Huang Feihong. Master Huang, my real name is Jiang Hao. The vast river is as vast as the sea. You just call me by my name, you don't need to call me Master Jiang. How can this work? It's okay, it's just a name. If Master Huang doesn't mind, I'll call you Brother Huang. This is absolutely necessary. Huang Feihong is also someone who is not bound by small details. As Jiang Hao said, left and right are just one name. And Ling Yunkai and Ye Wiping Su looked dumbfounded directly. What's the situation? Why did Jiang Hao suddenly become sworn brothers with their master? In this way, aren't they just 1 generation short of Jiang Hao? Although Jiang Hao looks older than them. Brother Jiang, if you're not in a hurry, why don't you come and sit in the hall for a while? Huang Feihong invited Jiang Hao. Although Jiang Hao looks young, his personality is mature and steady. Such a person is not simple. As for Jiang Hao's identity as a cook, it doesn't really matter. After all, people are now the owners of Heshenglu. Moreover, Jiang Hao is not an ordinary cook, but a skilled chef. Otherwise, why would the boss of Heshenglu give him shares in the restaurant? Jiang Hao comes from later generations. In the era of self-media, there are too many channels to obtain information. Compared to people of this era, Jiang Hao can definitely be considered knowledgeable. In terms of philosophy, he is also similar to Huang Feihong. In terms of personality, there is not much difference. So the more they chatted, the happier they became, and the unfamiliarity between them quickly dissipated. Get familiar with each other. Jiang Haohuang's nickname kept ringing in the room. The 2 of them were chatting happily in the room. Outside in the yard, a woman wearing a white dress appeared. "Akai, where's your master?" "It's Aunt 13, the master is in the room." A guest has arrived at Baozhilin, and the master is accompanying her. Guest. What guest? The chef from Husheng building, Master Jiang Hao. You know, because of his excellent cooking skills, the owner of the restaurant directly gave him 20% of the shares to win him over. Now he is also one of the owners of Husheng building, Ling Yunkai said. Aunt 13 was somewhat surprised. Jiang Hao's name, of course, she has also heard of it. Not only has she heard of it, but she has also gone to Hushenglu to eat dishes made by Jiang Hao. It's really delicious. The only downside is that the price is slightly higher than other restaurants. However, because the taste is good and more expensive, it is not unacceptable. She has also heard about Jiang Hao. Foshan is neither big nor small. Nowadays, the transmission of information relies on word of mouth. When something big happens, everyone is talking, and it's normal for you to hear about it. How did he start chatting with Feihong? Master Jiang often comes to Baozhilin to buy, drop and beat wine. Today he also came to Baozhilin to buy, drop and beat wine, and then he got to know his master. The two of them chatted and called each other brothers, and the master invited someone to sit inside. Upon hearing this, Aunt 13 nodded. She knows exactly who Huang Feihong is. It seems that Jiang Hao from Hushenglu is a good person. 13 aunties, are you here? I'm here to bring food to your master. I personally made it for him. I won't say much, I'll go in first. After speaking, Aunt 13 walked straight towards the main hall. Feihong. In the room, Jiang Hao and Huang Feihong were chatting happily. Aunt 13's voice rang out. Upon hearing Aunt 13's voice, Huang Feihong's face lit up with joy. The person stood up directly. 13 aunties, why did you come? I'll bring you food. At the same time as Jiang Hao saw Aunt 13, the voice in his mind rang out again. Ding, in contact with the main female characters, Mo Xiaoyun, world progress plus 10%, current progress of 25%, ding, congratulations on receiving the reward. There is one personal space that can be claimed. As she spoke, Aunt 13's gaze also fell on Jiang Hao. When she saw the tall and handsome Jiang Hao, Aunt 13 was taken aback for a moment. Because this is quite different from her imagined image of Jiang Hao. Because Jiang Hao doesn't look like a cook, his attire at the moment is even more like a teacher than Huang Feihong. Very elegant and handsome. But it's just not like a cook. Aunt 13, let me introduce you to the chefs of Brother Jiang, Jiang Hao, and Hushenglu. Brother Jiang, it was okay to introduce Jiang Hao to Aunt 13. When Jiang Hao was introduced to Aunt 13, he didn't know how to do it. Because he can't say who 13 aunties belong to. Aunt 13 naturally knew this, so she spoke up directly on her own. Master Jiang, hello. My name is Mo Xiaoyun, and 13 aunties is Feihong, a special nickname he gave me. Hello, Miss Mo. What's that, Brother Huang? It's getting late too. If I don't leave now, it's getting dark outside. I won't disturb you anymore. I'll come find you again in a few days. Then I'll be waiting for you, Brother Jiang, please. Huang Feihong escorted Jiang Hao to the entrance of Baozhi Forest and watched as Jiang Hao left before finally retracting his gaze. Feihong, Master Jiang from Hushenglu looks so young and doesn't look like a cook, 13 aunties said from behind Huang Feihong. Upon hearing this, Huang Feihong smiled and nodded. Indeed, it's not like that. Although Brother Jiang is young, he has a calm personality and is knowledgeable. He has a kind personality and is a good friend. This is Huang Feihong's evaluation of Jiang Hao. Positive feedback is very high. This surprised Aunt 13 a bit. After all, she rarely hears Huang Feihong praise someone so much. End of this chapter.